Hello YouTube, welcome to my first episode in how to make a game engine in Java. So what I've here is a little demonstration of what we're going to be doing. So it'll load up the music, play a track and icon down below, and it'll have a frames per seconds counter. Okay, so it's a about 60 frames per second or thereabouts. Okay. And we can draw it to the screen. The screen is we can move it, but we can't resize it. And we can just press the X button and that'll close out the whole thing. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing, and I will switch to workspace. Test. There we go. So taking too long to encode frames. That might be because of the threads starting up and whatnot. But anyway, sure. So yeah. Yep. Okay, cool. So when Eclipse decides to open for me again, which should be halfway through it, here we go. Okay, so we'll just X out of that and X out of that. Cool. So we're going to make a new Java project. Okay. So JDong engine. I've got a website as well. I'll put a link into that in the description below. There's a few helpful tips and tricks if you want to check that out. Pass it along and whatnot. So first of all, I guess we'll make a new package called com.game.engine. Okay, and this is going to be the very basics. This is only going to be the drawing. Like it'll have the method that gets called that will draw to the screen, and it will call the method that will update the screen as well, or update the game logic. Okay, so we'll make our first class, and that's going to be the game class. Okay. Another thing I need to say is that this is for people that have the basics of Java, so it will be an intermediate tutorial group. So we're not going to be explaining if statements, for statements, and we're just going to go straight into it. Another thing is it's based on object-oriented development, just so you know. Also, if you have C++ and you haven't covered Java, that's cool too. We can work away on that. You guys will have a fairly good idea of what's happening. So let's go over that again. This isn't for beginners, it's for intermediates. It's a 2D game engine, or it could be a 2.5D if you wanted it to be. The things that it's going to do, it's going to play background music, it's going to draw to the screen, and it'll take inputs from your keyboard and your mouse. Okay, it's going to update at 60 frames per second, and it's going to draw at 60 frames per second. So with all that said, I think we now get into this class here and start working. So the first thing we're going to do is going to make a constructor, and this is going to take in actually a good few arguments here. It's going to take in string for the title, so that's what we're going to call our game. We're also going to have the width, if I can spell. We're going to have the height. We're going to have a scale, so what we want to scale our pixels by, and we're going to take in a buffered image as well, called icon image. Oops, icon image. There we go. Now, the icon image is going to be the thing that's displayed down here, like the Java EE IDE type thing down there. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. There we go. And now we're going to make some global variables. Okay, so we're going to have a protected string for the title. This will let anyone, any packages, any classes that are in this package access to the what's called to the title. And we're gonna have protected. Whoops, and we'll throw in a scale as well. And protected buffered image. I'm going to call it icon image. Cool. And we'll just set these all up so it's this title equals title. We're going to do this dot width equals width. This dot height equals height. This dot scale equals the scale, and the this dot icon image equals icon image. Very good. So that's a lot of that set up. Now we're going to have our two methods in this class. Okay. It's going to be a public abstract void update and a public abstract void draw. Okay, some people. Oh, we need to make the class abstract. Yeah, I always forget about doing that. There we go. So some people like to call the draw method render, so we're just going to stick with draw. I like it. It makes more sense to me. Oh yeah, we're going to need to pass in a parameter here called graphics 2D. I'm going to just pass in the parameter g. Whoops. There we go. And get rid of that import up there. Don't need that one. So that's our update, our draw. And now we're going to do our... Oh, okay, sorry. So that's the update and the draw. The reason we're extending this... the reason this is abstract is we're going to be extending it later on. We're going to condense this all down into a jar file, and then when we want to use our game engine, we're just going to use the files that are in the jar. So there's our our image. Now we need to do a few booleans. Okay, so we're going to do a private boolean or protected boolean. Sorry. There we go. Protected boolean. We want to check if the game is over. Which is default set to false, and we want to check if the game is paused. So we'll just say paused. And that's also going to be defaultly set to false as well. So that's our first class done. It was pretty easy. The next one we're going to do will be the game components. Okay. So the game component is going to take the components as in our components. This is going to actually take like our keyboard and our mouse. Yeah, our keyboard. That's going to take our two parameters, the keyboard and the mouse. Okay. So this is actually going to extend JComponent. Extends. JComponent. There we go. It implements. Oh my god, what's wrong with me? Implements. Component listener. Component listener. There we go. See, flying it. Now there's methods that we haven't done. So here we go. We're also going to do a @override and a public void paint component. Yep, this is right, I think. I'm just going to take in graphics. G. Okay, so what this @override thing here does, if you're using Eclipse anyway, it will actually check that the method actually exists and that you're not just creating it, you actually want to override the method. Okay, so now let's make a constructor. Sorry, public game component. Oh, there we go. So we want to take in the type game, and then we're going to make it a global variable called private game, private final game. And then we want to say this dot game equals game. And then down here we want to say game dot draw graphics, and we're going to pass in the graphics object here, but we've requested that it takes in a graphics 2D object, so we're going to cast it as a graphics 2D object. There we go. And now we actually need to get the we're actually going to add a component listener here. Isn't that what I'm adding? Yes, it is a component, yeah. A component listener, and we're just going to pass this itself into this. So that's going to be fine and dandy. So that's two classes done. Like, we're going to have to declare our, what do you call it, our keyboard methods and our mouse method up here, but we're not going to do that quite yet because we haven't written them. So very good. So new class, and now this class we're going to make the window, our game window. So that's going to be nice. So game window, and this is going to be it's basically a JFrame window that we're making. So we'll just create our globals, private JFrame window and a private game component. Okay, very good. And now let's make a constructor which is public game window, and we're going to take in window. Sorry, we're not going to take in a window. We're going to take in an instance of game as well. Okay, so it's going to be game, and we're going to make Alright then. So it's going to be, we're going to make the window. So now we're going to say window is equal to new JFrame. We're going to have the window. I know we can set the title in there, but this just might be clearer for some people. So set title, and we're going to do game dot title. We're going to make the size of the window, so we're going to say window dot set size. It's going to take in it's going to take in game dot width, and it's going to take in game dot height. We're also going to set the location for a screen, because at the moment when we set up this, the location of the screen is up here in the top and left hand corner, so we want it to be in nice and center with us. Okay, so window dot set location, and we're just going to pass null into it because that that refers to the center of the screen. I also forgot to set icon image, and we're going to pass in game dot icon image. Okay, so that's that. We've set the location. Okay, now next thing is we want to set if it's resizable. Okay, so window dot set resizable, and we want to say false. We don't want people to be able to resize it, because then that's going to screw up our scaling. So coffee is good. So window dot set location, sorry, I've done that. Set location, window dot set visible is another one, or sorry, set close operator, set close operation, and we're going to say jframe dot exit on close. Change to apply action. Set default close, sorry. That is a silly mistake. Set default close operation, and we're going to do that. And that works more better. Yep, more better. Great English. Window dot set visible, next one, and we want to be able to see the window, so we're going to do that there. We're also going to need to create a game component, so we want the game component equal new game component, and we're going to pass in the same instance of game that we got, and we want to add this component to the window, so we're going to say window dot add component, and we're going to say component. We're going to say component dot request focus. Is it default? No, it's just request focus. There we go. Just looking at my notes. So yeah, that is our window class. How long are we in this video? We're 15 minutes in. You've designed half of the basic game engine. Okay, we have the game, we have the component, and we have the window. Okay, so next thing is the loop. So let's dig into it, shall we? Okay, so the next thing is going to be game loop. Alright, so I'll just get my notes up on the other screen. Okay, so what are we going to do? Okay, we're going to set up the loop first. So the game loop, whoops, and what do we want in here? We're going to take again the same instance of game, so it's going to be game and whoops, sorry, I also forgot to do something in this method here, the window method. We want to be able to get the component that we set up. Okay, so we want a public game component get component. You might notice that I'm typing out a lot, like the long names, and you might be used to shorter names. I find it easier to read my code when I actually I can read the variable name and straight away get what it means. So that's that. If you're using Eclipse and you don't like writing all these long names, if you press Control Space after typing the first letter, it will come up and it'll give you a choice of what you can pick. I use it quite a lot, as you might have noticed. So we're going to return the component. There we go. Flying it. So that's that done. Here's the next thing. So we have the public game, the game loop. Fair enough. So yeah, private final game, and we want this dot game equal to game, and we want to set up the window. So we're gonna set up a private final window, and we're gonna set up a private, final, whoops, that should be game window. There we go. And that should be private final game component. Int. There we go. Alright then, so we're going to say that the window is equal to a new game window, and we're going to pass in our instance of game. We're also going to do the same with our component. Is equal to, we're actually not going to, we're going to say component is equal to window dot get component. There we go. So that's our game, our window, and our components set up. So where are we going to go from here? The game is actually going to be run on a thread, so we want to say implements runnable, and then we're going to have to write the run method. Okay, so the run method is what's going to be run on the thread. Okay, so now this is going to be kind of tricky. We're dealing with nanoseconds, okay, not milliseconds. It's a 10 to 9 is what we're dealing with for the time on this. So I'm just going to start writing, and then after I finish it, I'll explain it, and hopefully you'll understand it, okay? But to save time, I'll just copy. I'll copy, just declaring a load of variables, okay? I'll write the loop myself. So there we go. So the timer, the last time it was updated, and the current time, sorry guys, my chest, and the next update, okay? So now we're going to run a while loop, and the while loop is going to say while game dot game, so it's basically saying while the game isn't over, we want to run this loop. Oops, forgot one. No, I'll bring that in a second. And then inside this, we want to say while. That was silly. While we're having another while. Okay. This time, this one is going to be while the game isn't paused. So while the game paused, while the game isn't paused. Okay. So the outside loop here is even if the game is paused, it's still going to be it's still going to be updating, okay? So let's move on here and do some coding. So while the game isn't paused, sorry, just bring that over there and scroll down a bit. Okay, we're going to need a variable, okay? It's going to be a final double, and we're going to call it 1/60th of a second, okay? One-60th of a second, okay? And this is going to be 1 to the 9, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we're going to divide it by 60. Because 1 to 9 is 1 to the 9 is 1 second in nanoseconds, and we're dividing it by 60 because we want 60 updates or 60 frames per second. Okay, that makes sense? So it's 1/60th of a second, that's our variable there. Now you see I've added the point, the point oh, point oh. That just means it's going to return a double. Okay, so that's that. Okay, we want to let our, so inside this game pause method, we're going to say current time is equal to system dot current nano time. Okay, that's going to return the time in nanos. Yeah, there we go. And then the next update plus equals the current time minus the last time. So that like the last time is the last time it was updated, and the current time is when it's been updated now. And we're going to divide it by 1/60th of a second. That makes sense? Hopefully it does. Well, it shouldn't make sense right now, but hopefully this next line will clear it up, or next two lines. So we're going to let the last time equal the current time. And then we're going to say if the next update is greater or equal to 1, we're going to add 1 to our ups. Whoops, ups. FPS, we're going to add 1 there. And we're going to take 1 away from the next update, so I'll reset it to 0. Whoops, there we go. And we're going to call game dot we're calling game dot update. Okay, and we're also calling component dot repaint. Okay, so now what the component dot repaint does is it calls this method here as soon as possible. So the update, the repaint is called, and it's like the next opportunity it gets, it's going to paint the screen. So there we go. So that's going to be our 60 frames per second. Okay. And now we're going to go down here and we're going to print out. This is just for printing out our frames per second. Whoops, where the box gone? So if the current time of our system, but we can do this in milliseconds because it doesn't need to be as accurate. Current time millis minus the timer. The timer, as you can see, is set up here to the current time millis as well. So we have the current time millis, and now if we say that is greater or equal to 1000, and 1000 is 1 second, okay? Because we're dealing with milliseconds now. So that was this section up here is nano. Down we're dealing with milli again. So 10 to the 3. So we want to say the timer is equal to system. We'll just, we'll just copy this. There we go. We'll system.out.print. Twice. In here we're going to say the ups equals, I want to say plus ups. So we're going to do the same here. It's going to be FPS equals plus FPS. and we'll just print out an extra space. I know I can do, we'll use backslash in, sorry. So after this we're going to say plus backslash n. I think that's, ooh, is it forward slash n? Backslash n. I'm not sure if that works or not. I hope it does, or else I'm going to look like a muppet. But anyway. What else do we need to do? We're just going to reset our counters then. So we're going to get reset FPS. Why do I have funky rating? No, it's saying, is it saying that I can't do it? N cannot be resolved to variable syntax error, invalid clear, so delete this token. Okay, so I don't know why I can't do that. So we'll just do this. I'm sorry, I know there's a backslash n, but I'd have to go googling to find it. So we're going to say ups is equal to 0, and we're going to set FPS equal to 0 as well. And that's our game updated, drawn, and the whole shebang. Okay, so we have the timer that we use down below here to check every second. Like once we have the game fully developed, we can just delete this section here because it doesn't affect the gameplay or anything like that at all. This is the main, like if you're really looking at it, this is the main thing here, those few lines. So we have the ups, we have the ups, we have the frames, and we have the last time, which is nanoseconds, current time is nanoseconds, the next update is a double, and we have the final variable of 1/60th of a second down here, okay? So it's going to be the current time minus the last time divided by the 1/60th of a second. Okay, now Control S, there we go, saved, no errors, the joys. So with that done, I'm going to write, what time are we at now? We're at 32 minutes. So I'm guessing I'll write the thread class, and then this is going to be the first part of our game engine series, or the first episode over after this. Or I'll write a class to implement the game engine that we have. Oh. Okay, so file, new class, game thread. Okay. Now this is going to be kind of important, so I'll take my time going through this. We're just going to be declaring okay, sorry. What we're going to do is okay, the computer's still okay. My computer overheats sometimes, so I have to stick it into a fan, you know, like an extra fan at the back to power it. But the fan comes straight down on my legs, and my legs get all cold. So I've turned off the fan now. But anyway, that's not relevant to this. So we'll make a public, and we'll call it game thread. Game thread. So it's going to be our constructor. We're going to take an instance of game. We're going to pass in game. And we're going to do the following. We're going to say, we're actually going to need a, what to call it? A game loop, I think. Yeah, we're going to need a game loop. So we want to make that a private final game loop. We'll call it loop. So loop is equal to new game loop, and we're passing game into it. And we're also going to need a private final thread. Okay, I forgot, and we're going to call this we'll call this game loop thread. Okay, this actually needs to extend thread as well. Extends th. There we go. Extends thread. And now we're going to actually have, oh yes. So with this game loop thread, it's going to equal a new thread, and it's going to pass. We're going to pass in a runnable target. Okay. Now this runnable target is going to be the loop, and we're also going to be able to pass in the title of the. Isn't that what it is? Sorry, give me a second. I believe it's the title. Yeah. So here we are. So yeah, the name of the thread. So if we look at the processes later, we'll be able to see that the whatever we call this here, it's going to be so we're going to pass in. Sorry, I didn't finish that sentence. When we do this, we're going to pass in the loop, and we're going to pass in a string thing, called game.get game title. Okay, plus loop thread, spell thread. There we go. And we'll put that there. Okay. So when we look at the process, our thread, we should see the thread saying whatever we name the game, loop thread. So it should be. So you'll understand. So it should look something like my game loop thread is what you should see in your process. Or yeah. So there we go. So now we're going to need to make our start method. Okay. So this what happens is when we call our start thread, it's going to give me a second. Oh, whoops. At override public synchronized void start, and we're going to say game loop dot start. Boom. And now this game should be updating at 60 frames per second. And okay, so what was I saying? So that does that. So this thing here is just going to go to loop, which is this class over here. It's going to find this run method, and it's going to do all of this. Okay. So we'll go over that now. Okay. So it starts. So when we're declaring our game, we're going to be give me a second now. We'll make a new package for start. Okay. So just go to new. You don't have to do this, but actually just do it. Don't worry about it. Game dot start. Okay. We're not going to keep this package, but we're going to keep it while we're developing, but it won't be in the final version. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. So start. So this is how we're going to use our game engine. So extends game. Extends game. Okay. Add the constructor. Add the unimplemented methods. Okay, cool. And now we're going to set up our main method. Args, public void main string args, cool. We're going to do a try and a catch. Exception E. Okay, so we're going to actually, okay. What time is it? Should I just finish it up? No, we might as well do this, okay? If you stuck around this long, you might as well be able to see what you've programmed. So we're going to make a new folder inside here. Whoops. We want to make a new folder inside here, and we're going to call it just a plain folder, nothing special about it. In JDong engine, cool. We're going to call it res, and inside this, we're going to make a new folder. We're going to call it images, and inside that folder, we're going to make another folder saying icon image. Icon image. Very good. And now the icon image has to be 32 by 32, just so you know. Where am I going? Nope, not there. Workspace. My game engine. Resources. Okay. I'm going to paste that in there. So now we've got the image. So we're going to go buffered image icon image equals to image io dot read. I want to pass in a file path. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass in a file. Sorry. So file. What's the file called? It's called res forward slash images slash icon image slash icon image dot png. So that should exist. There's that. We're going to call our start start equals new start. The title is going to be my game. The width is going to be 900 pixels, or the length, sorry, 900. 700. Scale is going to be 3. The icon image is going to be the icon image, and we'll add a semicolon for the laugh. And then we're going to go new game thread. We're passing start into it because start is extends game, so we can pass start into as a game into it, okay? And I'm going to say dot start. So dot start is going to call the method. Okay, so whoops, where are we getting a e dot print exception print. Now, why is that happening? I ask you. So thread takes in an instance of game. Now, this is what I did not want to happen, especially at 45 minutes into it. New game thread. No. and we can pass start into it. Passing that in there. Sorry guys, just give me 2 seconds while I try to figure this out. Start is equal to new start. We pass in the title, the width, the height, the scale is 3. I that doesn't affect it at all, but um hmm. This is weird. I had the same problem earlier, but it resolved itself. It was maybe it's the IDE acting up, or ah, there we go. I know why. Dot start. Now, the reason it was throwing me an error was I didn't save this the thread file, and that's why it was kicking me. So we're gonna run this. That should have started in the center, so I've messed up in the window class. But as you can see, the game is updating at 60 frames per second, or thereabouts. It's going between 50, 59 to 63, or yeah. We have my game up there. We have the little image down here and up there. If we press X, the thread is stopped, and we'll go to the window. Set relative. I think no, set location relative to, and is it null? Does that make more? Does that work? Yeah. So now we're set. Now we're in the back here. Okay. So now just to show that we're actually drawing to the screen, we're going to go to our start, and we're going to say g.set background color dot black. One second, please. I should have quit while I was ahead, lads. I'm telling you. I should add. Oh yeah. So set focusable, and we're going to set that as true. And then we're going to request focus because that's what we do. So we'll try that one more time. Still not working. So we want to just say yeah, okay. So nope, still not getting there. I'm sorry. This is kind of a bad way to finish the tutorial, writing so much code and then just going, well, it still doesn't work. No, it should work. G dot. You know what we'll do? What we're going to do is we're going to say system dot out dot print ln. I want being called. I'm going to go to my game loop and we're going to disable the We're going to do that, and we're going to run the game. So it is being called. So I'm just calling the, what to call it. So I must be saying something wrong with my draw method inside the start class here. G dot draw rectangle. We're going to say we'll say we made it the 700 wide. Sorry, we made it 900 wide, so we'll say 450. 450. We'll say the Y is 700, so it's going to be 350. And we're going to do the width of it's going to be 300. The height's only going to be 100. See if that will work. So yeah, we're getting a so we are drawing to the screen. I don't know why the g.set background didn't work. Set background color. Color dot black. Nope. So it must be a problem with the setting background color. But so there you have it. You have your game engine updating at 60 frames, between 68 and 63 frames per second, and you have your game image there and everything. So I'm sorry about the last 15 minutes or so where it just wasn't quite working for me. So just fix our timer so we'll see the printing out of ups and downs, the ups as well. Another thing you can do, like some people like to say that they like to see the effect of what their drawing has, like what effect drawing to the screen has. So they might keep the frames per second, instead of inside here, they'll put it outside and have it refreshing at a different rate. So for instance, if we have the frames per second doing this, thing is you always want to have your ups constant, but your frames can vary sometimes. I think it's anything over 25, or is it 26? It doesn't make a difference to the human eye, but us people that want 60 frames per second get 60 frames per second. So if I run this now, we're drawing to the screen, boom. Whoops. So there we go. So we'll close that down. So as you can see here, that the first time it draws, it calls the update method 59 times, and it calls the draw whoops, it doesn't call the draw to. That should be out here as well. Sorry. One more time, last time, and then I'll let you go, I swear. So there we go. So it's updating at 59. It's drawing to the screen 300,000 times, over 300,000 times, over 300,000, definitely over 300,000. Then it drops first down to 2,000 at the end. Okay, so that's what we've developed so far, but I personally like to keep them inside here with the rest of it. Okay, I hope you guys tune in to the next one. The next one I'm going to handle the inputs, so players clicking on the screen, or yeah, clicking and keys. So what happened, setting up class system. That's going to be a really short tutorial. I think that's only going to be about 10 minutes long. So we're going to save that there. I'll flick over and I'll show you. Yeah, no, I just think I'll end it. It's nearly 50 minutes. So I'll leave you go. So thank you guys, like, subscribe, share with your friends, give me some